Joey Mills here for Sportsman Boxing in association with Betfred. I'm joined here by Benn. Shalom. Ben, how are you doing today?
Very well, how are you?
I'm good, I'm very good. I'm excited because this Saturday night is finally here. Explosive British heavyweight title fight live on the BBC. Just tell the viewers at home what this means.
Look, it means everything to the two guys. I think we promoted both of them since debut. Both different journeys, both had to work very hard, both feel that they should have been a British champion before. And so the pressure's there. You know, you work your whole career for this. And probably that's why we've seen the animosity and the anxiety and the pressure this week, because there's so much on the line. The winner is in an amazing spot in this heavyweight division, especially on the BBC, and especially if they can win in style. The loser's gonna find it tough. And so, yeah, a lot of pressure, but a classic, a British heavyweight classic, I believe. 50-50 fight in many people's eyes, but yeah, a special night, first one on the BBC.
And for you as a promoter, I remember I was at the announcement press conference for the fight, and it was all very friendly between the fighters at the start, but then the old animosity started coming back to the fore. As a promoter, are you kind of rubbing your hands together a little bit at that when suddenly it did sort of take off, and as Jamie T. said to me, the beef is back?
Of course, I think it went a bit overboard in TalkSport on Monday. It has sort of levelled out. I think Jamie's been smarter with how he's behaved this week, but he's definitely got under the skin. You know, obviously I want it to be a great fight. I believe Fraser also can make a big statement on Saturday night, but you know, Jamie has played his part and he's exuding confidence. I think he feels like, as he said, this is his first defence. But yeah, the animosity's been there. Jamie probably got a bit of his chip on his shoulder, you know, turned over with us as well. Perhaps, you know, hasn't had the easiest route, hasn't been promoted and treated like an Olympian like Fraser Clark. He's had to work very hard, and we've managed to guide him well. And so they both arrive here after different directions. And yeah, I think, look, you've got another man standing in the way of your dreams. You've got another man standing in the way of what you've worked your whole career for. The pressure's on, and that's all it is.
And I think one thing that makes this fight particularly interesting is it feels like in many ways it's two men that are sort of searching for justice a little bit. We all saw what happened in the David Adelaide fight to TKV. I think Clark maybe feels on some level the Fabio Wardley result didn't do him justice, and we saw him take that out on Tete last time out. Do you see this as a battle of two men that really are just looking for justice in their careers?
It's a very good point. I think they both feel that they could have been, should have been British champion already. Particularly Jamie. I mean, Jamie in April was cruising towards a victory. I think you were there that night. We were there. It was shocking. It was absolutely shocking. And the way they dealt with it for me was not right. They gave it an illegal blow. They gave him the win, ordered a rematch, not compulsory. And as you say, David didn't want any part of Jamie after that. It was he knew he had his number, and he knew the way that would have gone. And so Jamie wants justice for that, of course. He's still frustrated. But Fraser Clark, in his 8th professional fight, to have that fight that he had with Fabio Wardley, and many people felt he'd win that night. I certainly did. He was doctor point as well. And he's seen Fabio Wardley go on to become heavyweight world champion. Like, if that doesn't get you going, and if that doesn't make you, you know, think about those 1%, then nothing will. It should give him that fire to go, you know what, I need to put on a big statement on Saturday, and I'm going to get back up there with Fabio.
Is that the roadmap for Fraser Clark? If he does win on Saturday night, is world titles where you're looking for him?
Look, he's got a short career. And yeah, we want him to get to the top of the sport. You know, we'll always fight for him to get to the top of the sport. We believe he deserves to be. But also, you know, there's a lot of good fighters and there's a lot of good heavyweights, but none as popular as Fraser Clark. He everywhere he goes, he's known as Big Fraser. Everywhere he goes, he's recognised, and he's a fan favourite. And similar to, we're both good friends with Ricky Hatton. He's got that, you know, relatability that Ricky had, and I think that's what will capture the public's imagination. That's why I think BBC is the perfect platform for him. He has the talent, he definitely has the fan base, and now it's just about performances that get him to that world level.
And you talk about BBC being an amazing platform, and someone that I think of with that on this card is someone like Fran Hennessy, where from the moment her music hits until the final bell rings is pure entertainment. Just tell people that might not have watched Fran before what to expect.
Just unique style. not one you see much in women's boxing. She's got that sort of professional swagger. I think in women's boxing, a lot of them come from a heavy amateur career, and so they box in a certain way, and there's nothing wrong with that. But Fran Hennessy's gone straight into the professional game, the youngest female I think I've ever worked with, but also I think she turned over at the youngest female ever. Usually the females that I work with are turning over late 20s, 30 plus. You've got a girl 20 years old here that dances her way around the ring, that boxes like she's Nassim Hamed, and she's got the world at her feet. She's perfect for this platform, as you said. She's a star. She'll embrace the spotlight, and she's inspiring people all over the country. So now it's not just about being a viral sensation and the TikToks and the social media. Now it's about showing, she's a serious fighter, dedicated fighter. She fights a former world champion on Saturday night, and for me, it could be the start of something very special.
And you talk about the start of something very special. I think someone that is very young himself continues to be special every time out. Adam Azim, top 15 opponent. Is that the plan? January 31st in London. Is that where we're looking?
It looks like it. Well, it's a big fight before Ramadan on BBC Two. It's going to be a special night. I think Adam, for me, him and Moses, probably the most talented, most genuine fighters that we have from Britain. The guys are probably potential undisputed champions. I think Adam Azim can dominate that 140 division. It's a money division. It's a great division. There's great names all over the place, but none as good as Adam Azim. He's shown his level. I think Kurt Scobie was a great indicator to the States, and I think they saw him for the first time, and he's created a lot of fans over there. So it's exciting times for Adam, but headlining on BBC Two in front of the national audience. You think back to, the Chris Eubank Senior and Amir Khan and the big names of yesteryear. They were built in front of a nationwide audience. He's got the talent. Now it's about getting him in that audience. And I think a breakout fight on BBC Two before Ramadan.
And obviously on the night of the Kurt Scobie fight, there was Chris Eubank Jr. unfortunately came up short against Conor Benn in a very hard, very tough fight for him. I just wonder, what's the mindset in the Eubank camp now? It seems like he is going to carry on fighting. Is there any indication, will that be up at super middleweight? What does the future look like for Chris Eubank?
I think it looks like getting fit and healthy and coming in the ring 100%. I think, yes, it looks like at 168, but, he'll have to see how his body recovers. One thing for sure is he will return, but it has to be, the rematch was so close together and he was dealing with so much. He has to be given the time to recover because, no one wants to see a fighter going in the ring not 100%. But he's a phenomenal servant to British boxing. Every show that he puts on is a pay-per-view show because of him. And, biggest star for me, but will return probably middle of next year.
And with Chris as well, I think there was a lot of people that, I think they were quite uneducated views, but after that fight, a lot of people saying, there's going to be an inevitable third fight now. From talking to you today, I don't think that's possible, is it really? It doesn't look like Eubank's going to be fighting at a weight that Benn can get to again.
Look, one obvious change is that rehydration clause. I certainly, do never want to see that again. I think the board should outlaw it. Fighters are going to fight at whatever weight pays them the most money, and so it's up to the board to make it safe. They're the regulators, they're the ones that put in the places, and people can say, well, you should have never agreed to it. When a fighter is offered a serious amount of money to do something, believe me, they're going to do it. There's not one fighter that I know that doesn't, and they push their bodies to the max. They're not normal people, and that's their decision, it's their bodies. We're not the regulators, we can't outlaw it, and that rehydration clause and any rehydration clause that's unnecessary and put in contracts. How have we got to the stage where we think it's okay to literally disadvantage a fighter because he's not able to rehydrate properly? How is that accepted? How is that even a thing? Like, just in the fact of what it is, should be outlawed. And I hope to never see that again, and that's why I think perhaps we might see a third fight.
The rehydration clause is something that has been in the news again this week, because apparently Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua's agreement includes one where I think it's £245 that AJ has to come into, can't rehydrate to a certain weight. What do you make of that as a spectacle, as a fight, and in particular the rehydration clause that Jake's insisted on?
Look, it's not boxing, so I credit to them and what they're earning and everything around that, and it's almost quite unbelievable that it's happening. But what can I comment on? Like, I'm a boxing promoter. You're talking about a YouTube cruiserweight fight. It doesn't make sense to me. I've got no comment on it, but it's an unbelievable spectacle, and they're going to make a lot of money. But yeah, I'm not the person to ask about that fight.
And it brings us perfectly round, really, to Clark and TKV this weekend, because I think there is something beautifully traditional about this. It's the BBC. It's the Lord Lonsdale belt, if I can put my teeth in. It is so the core of what boxing and heavyweight boxing in this country is. So I'm going to get you to put your promoter hat on for me, Ben, just as we get to the end of this, and just sell this fight to people, why they should be in front of their telly on Saturday night.
Look, it's been 20 years. 20 long years to get the BBC back into boxing. Boxing is growing, boxing's a global sport, boxing's a young sport, but the only way it survives is if it has the oxygen, if it has the national audience. And so, as you said, the British heavyweight title in a 50-50 fight to be the first fight that opens a new era on our national broadcaster, it's not just great for us, it's not just great for the fighters, but it's great for the sport. And I'm sure, and I know everyone will be tuning into something very, very special, very, very new, but also a great fight.
You heard the man. Watch it this Saturday night. TKV, Fraser Clark, British heavyweight title.